What's going on, everybody? My name is Merk, and today I'm going to be bringing you all my GPC Season 5 Week 8 team builder for Turbo Blaze 6 and his New England Pachirisus. So, Turbo is, I believe, I don't know. He's like 3 and 4, something like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. We're 6 and 1. We're in first place. We're looking good, and I just want to keep up the momentum and just ride it all the way into playoffs and hopefully into a championship. But yeah, so our team still the same team as last week. Picked up a Scavalier the week before that. Hasn't seen the field yet, but it will probably see it eventually. And Turbo's team is very spooky. He has Mega Aggron, Garchomp, Talonflame, Cofagrigus, Roserade, Blastoise, Heracross, Azelf, Electabuzz, Slurpuff, and Kecleon. He originally had Mega Lopunny as his first pick, but then he dropped it and picked up some other stuff, and that's why Mega Aggron is first. He didn't actually take Mega Aggron as his first pick. No one's that dumb, I hope. But it's a really interesting matchup because he has some things that are very, very good against my defensive mons. Like Heracross has a very good matchup. Talonflame is famed for being one of the better things to take on fat stuff with like Taunt SD and that sort of shenanigans. Aside from that, Roserade hits like a truck as always. Setup Cofagrigus could be spooky, and Garchomp has a very strong dual stab against me since I don't have great ground resists. Even though I dropped Mesprit, but that wouldn't have helped very much against a Garchomp, I don't think. Maybe, but whatever. I'm still happy with Escavalier for what I need it for. But I have a pretty cool team this week. I saw a few weaknesses in his team and a cool idea that I want to run around that was talked about with some other dudes, and the person just jokingly said that, yo, you should run this one set that's very memely, and I was like, yo, that's actually a good set, and I'm gonna run it, and it'll look cool. So that's what I'm doing this week. Got a pretty neat build, for the most part, before it turns into just boring fat shit like I've been running. So let's go ahead and show you guys what I'm bringing. So, yeah, 6 I'm bringing is Gastrodon, Sneasel, Donphan, Mega Venusaur, Heatran, and Thundy T. So right off the bat, you can see the set that I'm bringing right here. I'm bringing Choice Specs Gastrodon because it just dookies on his team. We got Storm Drain as the ability with Earth Power, Surf, HP Flying, and Ice Beam, 116 HP, max special attack modest, and 96 in speed. The speed is there to outrun, I think it's for Mega Aggron. Yeah, I want to outspeed that guy. Mega Aggron with a few speed EVs. So that's the thing. But if you look at his team and then you look at Gastrodon and its coverage, it has a really, really good matchup against him. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. His likely switch-ins are going to be stuff of the sort like Blastoise and Roserade. And Specs Ice Beam does a lot to Roserade. Specs Earth Power is doing a fair bit to Blastoise, not doing a ton, but also keep in mind that Blastoise has no recovery. Also, if I switch into a Blastoise's Scald, I get a +1, so I'm basically at double my initial special attack, so that's going to throw out some hard hits. And I decided to go with Surf so that a potential mon like Guts, AV, Heracross can't switch in and try and take advantage of Scald Burns, because I really don't have much to switch into a Guts Heracross on my team, especially if it's packing Facade for a Clefable, which I'm not bringing this week, so that could be bad, but we'll see. I have HP Flying to get a big hit off on the Heracross and kill it unless it's super duper extra bulky. Obviously, HP Flying doesn't help with anything else. Ice Beam hits the Roserade harder, but I didn't need any other coverage aside from Earth Power, Surf, and Ice Beam, so that was just a nice fourth move to tag on there so that I could make sure that I could kill the Heracross. This thing is just really, really good. It should be able to lure out some of his mons. Like if he's Spadef Talonflame, I can just one-shot it with Surf. I have a very good chance of knocking it out with Surf. It switches into Aggron very well, and then Earth Power and Surf both to it KO it, which is really cool. It can take a hit from Garchomp and knock it out with an Ice Beam. It can't take a huge hit from Heracross because Heracross is strong, but if he's like Jolly Scarfed or just not banded or something, then I should be able to, I believe, take a hit and then knock it out with an HP Flying in return. And it's just a really cool lure because stuff like Roserade is really bad news for my team. I don't have a lot for it, so having something that can just lure it in and kill it off the surprise is something that I really like. And this just has a good matchup overall against his team. It takes advantage of his fat mons and can hit them really, really hard, and it's really spicy. I was talking to Shoddy about this team, and he gave it a 7.5 out of 10. In the spice category. 7 of those points were for Gastrodon set. So yeah, that means he's kind of the star of the show, hopefully, for this week. Next, I've got Morgan, the Sneasel. So I'm rocking Life Orb, Pickpocket with Pursuit, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, and Knockoff with max attack and max speed because he has an Azelf and I want to speed tie with that thing if need be. So one of the main reasons I wanted to have Sneasel here was so that I could Pursuit Trap the Roserade so that I could spam Surf or Earth Power much easier. Pursuit Trapping Roserade would be really nice because, one, it gets rid of a thing that threatens out Gastrodon, and it just gets rid of a thing that does a ton of damage against my team, and I really don't want that. And also, Sneasel has a very good matchup. It has that nice Ice Stab, which lets me hit Garchomp, which is a big threat to the team. I have Ice Shard, so if he gets up, if he's Scarfed or if he has a Salac Berry, then I can pick it off if it's at a certain amount of health. And Knockoff is just a nice spammable move. He doesn't have a lot of great Dark Resist. If he switches in Heracross, then it's losing its item, and Heracross is really best when it has an item. And this thing is just a nice thing to get damage off, especially since a lot of his bulk doesn't really have good recovery. Obviously, I don't have Low Kick, so I can't really touch Aggron, but Low Kick doesn't do much of anything to Aggron anyways, and I have lots of ways to deal with Aggron on this team, and it's one of the things that lures out Gastrodon anyways, so I don't really mind not being able to touch that, because I really wanted all 4 of these moves, because they're really good against his team, aside from the Aggron. So next, I needed a thing that could do some stuff, and I decided that Donphan's been sitting on the bench for a little too long, and even though it's a bad Pokemon, I decided that he needs a little love, especially since we're doing so well this season. So I brought in the room the Donphan again for the 3rd time this season. I've got Rindoberry with Sturdy, EQ, Ice Shard, Stealth Rock, and Stone Edge with max HP, basically max attack Adamant, and a little bit of speed to make sure that Mega Aggron shouldn't be outspeeding me. So I decided to bring the thing because it's a nice check, and yeah, it's a nice check to a fair bit of his mons. With the Rindoberry, I can take any non-Leaf Storm type hits against a Roserade, and I can knock it out with EQ plus Ice Shard. Getting up Stealth Rocks is really nice for the Talonflame. This thing just being naturally bulky allows me to take a hit from Talon, and I can knock it out with a Stone Edge in return. Yeah, having those Stealth Rocks is just nice, forces him to Rapid Spin, and his team really does not appreciate Stab Earthquake. He does not have good switch-ins to this. His immunities, I believe, are, Azelf and Talonflame, which both do not appreciate taking Stone Edges, and though Heracross does resist, and EQ is still doing a fair chunk, and just having chip damage on a mon like Hera is good. So I really like Donphan this week. That Ice Shard priority is pretty nice as another check to Garchomp because it does about 50% to an offensive spread, and just having that also to be able to pick off a weakened Roserade would be nice. And because of my Heatran set, I really wanted Stealth Rock. So I originally thought about going just EQ Ice Shard, but then I can't hit Talonflame. So I decided to not go with Rapid Spin and go with Stone Edge instead. And I didn't see that dropping Stealth Rock was a good option because rocks are really good against his team, especially since he only has Blastoise to get rid of him. And my team does do a little bit of throttling to Blastoise, so if for some reason he doesn't bring it, then we got free rocks, and that's beautiful, I think. I'm just going to double check that. Yeah, that's his only way to get rid of Hazard, so he probably will bring it just because he has a Talonflame, and that's generally something you do, especially when I have a fat team that's going to force switches a lot because, yeah. So this thing's just a good check to a lot of his mons. It's not incredible, but it's pretty nice in this matchup, and I get to run a berry. So I think that brings my berry count up to 10 on this season, which is not bad. It's not bad. Definitely not Togavor level, but no one is at Toge's level. Anyways, now we're going to move on to some of the fatter stuff on the team. We got Money Trees, a Mega Venusaur coming again for like the 7th out of 8 time. But yeah, Mega Venusaur is really, really nice in this matchup. I'm running a mixed defensive spread with Leech Seed, Synthesis, Sludge Bomb, and Giga Drain, max HP, 160 in defense with the Bold Nature, and 100 in Spadef. These EVs should allow me to take a lot of hits from his team. I can take 2 Sludge Bombs from a Roserade. I can take a non-Life Orb boosted Extra Sensory from a Roserade. I think he might run something like Assault Vest against me, but maybe not. If he's running Life Orb, then I have no switch-ins to it because he'll be packing HP ground probably, but Leech Seed's really good against his team because I get to Leech Seed stuff like Talonflame because it's very possible that he'll bring a Spadef set to try and set up on stuff like Heatran and Venusaur and Clefable. So Leech Seeding that would be nice, especially if I can also get a Toxic on it or something like that. Synthesis, obviously, for healing. Also, Leech Seed really good to wear down the Mega Aggron and stuff because I can't touch it otherwise with this set, but it does switch in very nicely to Aggron, especially since it can't get Toxic or anything beautiful like that. This defensive EVs also let me take some hits pretty nicely from Garchomp. The only thing I can't really take is a Banded or Life Orb Outrage from it, and I don't think I can take a Banded EQ either. But he's forced to run Jolly unless he's running Scarf Adamant, which he could do, I guess. But I can take hits from a Jolly, non-Life Orb, or Life Orb, depending on his moves, Garchomp. I don't really think I want to have Outrage on it, just because like I have a Clefable, and that secedes a lot of momentum for me, but who knows what he wants to do, honestly. So, yeah, this thing's just a nice check to a lot of stuff on his team. Obviously, I don't want to be leaving it in on a Talonflame, but I can take a pretty big hit from a bird. I don't think I can take a Banded, an Adamant Banded Brave Bird, but I know I can take an Adamant Sharp Beak one, which he could bring Banded, but I feel like a Taunt set's probably the most likely thing, just because of my team. So, yeah, this thing just good blanket check to a lot of stuff, and then we've got our second blanket check mon, which is Heatran, Spicy Doggo, coming again. I've really been liking Heatran the more I've used it, because I'm finding what it's good at and what it's not good at. And this week I'm bringing a very cancerous asshole kind of set, but I don't care because I don't care about feelings. With leftovers, Flash Fire, Toxic, Protect, Magma Storm, and Ancient Power, with max HP, 164 in defense, 80 in Spadef, and 16 in speed. So let's break down the EVs real quick. Max HP and 164 defense is to allow me to take hits from Talonflame really, really well. I can take a Jolly Close Combat from Heracross. There's no telling. It's unlikely they will do that, but I felt that that was a good amount of defense to invest because I really want to be able to take hits from Talonflame. I can take an Adamant Natural Gift Ground from this range. I obviously not at +2, but if he just tries to pop me with that, then I can just sort of eat it and then try and Protect Stall to get lefties back up. Then the leftover 80 went into Spadef so that I could potentially take on stuff like Roserade. If he's not running HP ground for some reason, then I just wall it, and that'd be great. And I kind of wish I brought Escavalier because the combination of Heatran and Escavalier walls stuff like Roserade, mons that rely on hidden power to hit steel types. I know that from experience. Trying to bring a Serperior against a team with Heatran and Mega Scizor, it doesn't really work. And then 16 in speed to creep on a Blastoise because I want to be outspeeding Blastoise. And this set's really, really good against his team. Magma Storm, Toxic, Protect is just a deadly combo against his team. It does so much damage against everything. If he tries to bring in Blastoise and Rapid Spin against me, I can hit it with a Toxic, I can Protect, I can Magma Storm it, and just get a whole ton of chip damage off before it forces me out, which would be fantastic. This is a nice way to deal with like non-rest Cofagrigus, which is cool. I can get some chip damage off on a Garchomp, and Protect is a really nice way to scout for choice items, and if I'm pretty sure that he's Scarfed on or Banded or whatever on a thing, then I can see what it's going to go for and then switch in accordingly or stay in accordingly. And Ancient Power is there so that I can hit the Talonflame, of course, and also get the cheeky boost because I really don't want Brave Bird being spammed everywhere on my team. That would not be ideal. One weakness looking at this team is that Spikes plus Brave Bird is kind of spooky, but it's whatever. I think he'll want to run coverage on his Roserade over Spikes, but yeah, we'll see. This has a good matchup to just stall out a lot of things on his team, and having Protect and lefties allows me to get a lot more health back than I would without it, so I think it's a pretty good combo. And let's move on to the last mon on the team. I noticed that Scarfed Heracross absolutely just destroys me, so I needed something that could outspeed Heracross, so I went with Choice Scarf Thundy T with Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Psychic, and HP Ice. 24 in HP, max special attack, Modest Nature, and 232 in speed. This speed allows me to outrun a Heracross. I don't think he's going to be running a Scarfed Roserade. It doesn't make a lot of sense against my team, and if he is, then whatever, I can deal with it a lot easier because Mega Venusaur eats every hit from it. So that's a thing. Other notes, this thing's just a nice way to clean up. It's a good Talonflame check because if he's not boosted, then he obviously can't Flare Blitz me, and I can just Volt Switch on it every single time and just force it out and just threaten it. HB Ice is there to hit the Garchomp because I don't want that thing to be a free switch, and I consider running U-turn, but the Rocky Helmet damage or the Rough Skin or whatever damage from Garchomp isn't very appealing. And Volt Switch is just nice because it hits his team really hard. This thing threatens out Blastoise really nicely, unless of course he's running like Mirror Coat. But if he stays in on a Thundy as I Volt Switch and he's not like Walk and Berry or something, then I'm probably just gonna go Hard Sneasel to counteract the Mirror Coat because that's a Psychic move and Sneasel's a Dark type, and that's cool. So that's the team. I think it's pretty cool. I really like Beck's Gastrodon. It can do a whole lot of damage against his team, so the goal is to just try and get that thing in as much as I can and wreak some havoc and use other stuff along the way to be annoying against his team and make it so it's fun for me and not for him. So that's the team and all that stuff. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you at the battle. Bye.